Alrighty then, let's see if this is. Hello. Alright, working fine. Right. Here are the first, I guess, day one builds for 2K21 that are gonna be the most dominant builds of day one. We don't know the meta yet. We don't know if hop steps are gonna be OP. We don't know how the new shooting's gonna work. Well, we know how it's gonna work. We don't know if it's gonna be effective. We don't know. Are people gonna be using the aim system, the no bar system, both? Is meter gonna be viable this year? We don't really know yet. But assuming that everything is very streamlined and does what it should, which is a very good chance it doesn't because it is 2K. 2K does not do a good job at balancing the game from day one. But with that said, these are going to be the best builds for day one of 2K21. Let's go ahead and do these. Nope. We are selling out around these parts. We do be sellouts though. Alright, so the first position, we're going to go over probably 2 or 3 different builds per position. I'm not going to count point guard and shooting guard as 2 different positions. I'll show you different variations and different ways you can make different builds, but y'all get it. So handed right or left, I feel that doesn't matter. I've been told that left shoots better. I think that is just your personal preference, but that's neither here nor there. As always, make your build 24/8, especially this year, or else your build will be garbage, prospect, yada yada. You get it. So, for the first build, this is always a good build at the beginning because typically in 18, 19, and 20, shot creating take is OP at first, and any build that can shoot very effectively at the beginning of the year is instantly a top tier build. Last year we had play shot and offensive threat. This year, I don't know about the offensive threat, but this is the play shot build. Now there's several ways you can make this. Of course, pick playmaking shooting pie chart. Now what I like to do, I'd go pure speed for this, and then 2 variations. Max out everything here. So we have 25, take this down to 89. Playmaking, you want to get as many as possible. So go down to 62. Off rip, you already have 25 and 24, which is amazing. So the way that I would make this build is put the rest into defense and just kind of go through here, try and find a way to get as many defensive badges as possible. So anywhere from about 5 to 8 is good for a guard at least, especially for what you're trying to do here. And you can either put the rest of this into like a close shot, layup, and if you would like a driving dunk, I wouldn't recommend it for this build. But for me personally, I'm going to put the rest of this into defense because this build is going to be all around very good. Because they're going to have to play you very high if you can shoot effectively, and there's no reason you shouldn't be able to. With what will be, I believe, a 9, you can get up to a 90 or 89 3-pointer, and there's just no downside to putting into defense. So, for the first variation of this, the one that I would make personally is the 6'5". I would go 6'5" because you still have Hall of Fame quick first step, Hall of Fame playmaking badges, so you're gonna feel faster. However, if you want to go down to anything, I would only go down to 6'2". If you want the extra ball control, I would go 6'1" at the very least. I would not recommend it. For me personally, I would only go default 6'3" for lowest, but if it's really that important to you to get the 90 ball handle, go for it. But for me, 6'5" is what I would want to do. Minimum weight. And then wingspan is very weird this year. So you can either go lowest, have a 91 three-pointer, and low ball handle. But if you want the variation with the finishing attributes instead of the 10 defensive, if I were you, I would go max. Because you'll be doing a lot more driving in. But at that point, I would just go ahead and make the build that I'm about to show you. So, for me personally, I would take it down just till I get 90, and go from here. Shot creating take is always the best right off rip. And this is the main guard build. You'll get a play shot, all the names are the same, but from here on, I'll probably just be going back and forth between the builds. So as you can see, at base, you'll have 74 speed, which is really good off rip if you just want to go straight to the part. And we don't know this yet, but we're thinking that after 95 to 99, you'll get the +4 attributes, and at 99.9, we think that you'll be able to get it, but we're not sure. I'm almost 100% positive Gym Rat will be back in the game, so even at 6'5", you'll still have minimum 92 speed once you get Gym Rat. So what I'd do with the badges is, I wouldn't make a build this year that goes up to 30 shooting badges. Because last year, you had to put extra into shooting because there was no quick draw, or because there was quick draw. This year, there is none. So you have a lot more freedom with these. So Range Center, Hall of Fame, Hot Zone Hunter, and then that's about all you really need for this. You can Deadeye, Ring Machine, Difficult Shots, maybe even Volume, and Corner Specialist, and then Hot Start, but from what I've done and played around with, it's very, I guess, overpowered. I think they're going to be tweaking this a lot throughout the year because I don't think they accounted for Quick Draw not being in the game and how many extra badges you'll actually have. But for now, this is just what I'd go with. And I guess right now, since I'm not going to be doing this with every build, I'm going to go, so for shooting badges, priorities, Hot Zone Hunter, Range Extender. If you only have, I guess, 1 to 10, I'd go Range Extender, Gold, Hot Zone Hunter Gold, and then Green Machine. I would prioritize Range Extender, Hot Zone Hunter, and then Green Machine for me personally, and then whatever extra badges you have, excuse me, after that, feel free to do whatever you'd like with them. For playmaking, for me personally, it's the exact same as last year. Handles for days, quick first step, unpluckable. If tight handles works this year and they don't switch it up, this is just what I would have. You can go Dimer, more general. I'm not going to say anything about Space Creator and Ankle Breaker yet because we don't know how it's going to work against other players. Of course, you can spam the step backs against AI and you'll get ankle breakers. You can spam snatchbacks, you'll get ankle breakers, but against real people, we don't know yet. So I'm just going to leave that there for the base. If you get very few, if you're a guard, quick first step, handles for days, unpluckable. That's the order in which you should prioritize those. Now, defense for guards. Obviously, clamps, I'd go probably silver pick dodger, bronze chase down, silver rim, and well, I'd even take this down to bronze, put this on gold, but this is just what I'd do, just for chase downs. For me personally, I would only need probably about 5 defensive for guards, but excuse me. This is all that I would really need. I'll do finishing on this build that I'm about to show you. Continue. Do I really have to go in here? Sure. I'm going to quit out of this immediately, but for day one, I believe that's going to be the best point guard shooting build because they'll be forced to play you up, and with the 90 plus speed that you get, and then the Hall of Fame playmaking badges, I think you should be just fine finishing at the rim because we've never had issues with it in the past. Regardless of your build, you'll be able to hit layups. So that's the first guard build. Now I'm going to do a slashing variation and then a lockdown variation. So the slashing, I personally do not like it as much because Mike Lang has said you won't be able to shoot consistently with anything below a 70, and to be an effective slasher in this game, you'll have to have some sort of three ball for them to play you up, unless you're a big build. Because at the end of the day, when this happens, they'll either switch the big onto you and you'll have to sit paint, or they'll just guard very low on you, hold their nuts, just kind of sit there and wait for you to come to them, and it's very difficult to get anything going out of that. But if you are one of the few that can make it work, regardless of your three, or you always find a way to get to the basket, this is what I would be the best build for you. So 12 or 8. Now there's several pie charts you could go. I would not recommend making the offensive threat from last year because the defensive badges, especially for day one, are very important. But if you would like to make it, it's exactly the same as last year. Shooting, finishing, playmaking. And going in there will be, I forgot what I was going to say. Don't make the offensive threat build from last year, essentially is what I'm trying to say, because you'll be defensive liability. But if you want to, I'm sure there's a way you can make it with 5 defense. Well, personally, I'd either go with the pure blue pie chart, which you won't be able to shoot with. However, you'll have driving dunk, you'll still be able to get playmaking badge in the defense, or where to go. The two-way slashing play is still in the game. You can make a slashing play with the pure play, and you can make it with, of course, the blue-yellow. This is the one I will be showing you because it's the most versatile in my opinion. You can do the most with it. So you can either go pure pink pie chart, or you can go pink purple. I prefer the pink and purple because I feel like you get better dunks, but that's just kind of superstition, like being burly gets better screens. But this is one that I feel is a little better. So max these first 3 out, come down. You want to max 3-point, mid range, then let me see here, do a little testing. So I would personally only go with 8 shooting badges because that is enough for you to get silver green machine, gold range center, gold hot zone hunter. We'll learn further on through the year what badges are good, what badges are bad, but for now, I would just stick with those. Those are the reliable ones that have always been good, always will be, and they're just the safest overall. So here's where you can vary. You can either put more into playmaking, or you can go defense. Personally, I would go defense, max steal, defensive rebound, and you'll have 19, 8, 22, and 6. Or if you want to go no defense at all, you can put them into playmaking, you'll get 25. Or you can come back up here, end up getting 23 finishing. I wouldn't go any higher than, let's see, I think it's 20 finishing. So you get the 5 Hall of Fame badges. which is personally what I go with every year. Oh, here we go, actually. I didn't even realize you could do this, but this is purely just going through showing the base builds. I feel like I should have said that earlier, but tweak these however you wish to play. If you can find a better way to make them, please share it around, let me know in the comments. But this right here is what I think the best build would be for me personally. But as you can see, I believe it's 63 badges. Very good build off rip. So let's see. 30. I was very off. 55 badges. I don't even know what I was thinking. Yeah, but still, very good build off rip. Burly. I don't think it matters too much. For this, 6'5", you always want to be a bigger guard if you're gonna be a slasher. Just purely to baby the play shots and then anything below 6'4". Now, I would not go 6'8" or anything above 6'5" for this build because you see how much your physicals go down. Your driving layup drops 4, and I think anything below a 90 speed for a guard is kind of a liability, especially when the meta is going to be very fast and I guess very dribble oriented where you won't be able to keep up very well. Now from here, if I were you making the slasher build, I would go default or even just go down, not to minimum, but just where you get 90 speed. For this, max your wingspan. Your ball handle stays above an 85, your defense goes up drastically, and your driving dunk, close shot, standing dunk, post hook, they go up tremendously. I would go slash and take. We don't know if they fixed playmaking takeover this year, so I wouldn't do that quite yet. And now for another slashing play build, that's a little more balanced, you can go all yellow. Where was it? It might have just been all yellow. So start off all yellow pie chart. So do not go the pure purple this time because you'll still be able to get 99 speed, assuming Gym Rat in the 99.9 with the athletic package. So purple pink. And of course, first thing you want to do, max out pass accuracy, ball handle, and go up 1 or 2 on post moves. Next, you want to go 3-point, mid range, and post fade. Move post fade back down. Again, I would stick with 8. If you play Pro-Am, I would take this down until you get 8. If guards can post hook again, or post fade again, this year like last year, invest in both. However, just going for normal attributes and everything that you should be able to do, just go 8 shooting badges. Next, driving layup, close shot, driving dunk, and let's see here. So, I would go just until you get 9 for the contact, fancy footwork, and then slithery finisher. If you want, you can max it out. I wouldn't though. I would just go for the bare minimum. Defensive badges. You'll end up being able to get anywhere from, again, 5 to 10. That's a very good range for a guard. Excuse me. And then for the rest of this, I would just go through, see what you like best. You can go invest in shooting. You can get up to 11. I think that might be the move for this one. If that'll go away. You can get up to 10. I wouldn't do that. So I think the best investment for these last few points is definitely into shooting, so you get 3 more badges as opposed to 1 somewhere else. So at the end of this, it'll be a 56 badge build. Very good. You'll be able to shoot, finish, play defense. And I make this is probably a better threes build, as you'll have max out playmaking, you get Dimer, Floor General Hall of Fame, Angle Breaker, Space Creator, Quick First Step, everything that you could want, this build will give it to you. You can go 6'5", you could even go 6'6" with this build, purely because of everything that you get with the playmaking, and you do get some defense, but like I said before, I would go 6'5". Yeah, I would go 6'5". That's, I feel like, the only viable height for this build. If you go 6'3", you don't gain anything from it. There's no benefit from staying default. If you go lower, it hurts you tremendously. And going up 2 inches, you lose 1 ball handle, 1 speed, well, you gain 15 standing dunk, and then a bunch of other attributes. For this, I would go minimum weight, and then you could go minimum wingspan, or I would even go, you could even go max. I would probably go with, honestly, if I were y'all, go 1 below default because you'll get 70 driving dunk. I believe that's the threshold. Not sure when the game comes out. Whatever the minimum threshold is, because you can get up to 72, which is pretty good. And then you'll get all the layup packages in the game for guards. But for this, probably just go 1 below or until you get thresholds for animations. For this, you could go playmaking or slashing. I wouldn't choose shot creating, you don't have the shooting for that. But if that's what you want to do, go for it. But for me personally, I would go slashing because slashing takeover essentially means playmaking takeover. Because they have to play you back. You have 11 shooting badges, you can shoot with that. If they play you up, you get blow-bys every single time. For the next build, this is my personal favorite build, and I think y'all like it really good too. And it takes advantage of the 6'8" point guard, which a lot of people are going to be excited about. This is my 2-way finisher build. So, like I said, this is my favorite build so far this year. And I'm trying to think how I made it. I think I went, no, I'll have to play with this just a little bit. But I believe I went balanced, came down. Of course, I'm going to max everything out for now. We will be tweaking this later, but I believe what I did was max these 2 out. Then you will not touch shooting on this. If you want to, you can, but I wouldn't do it, not with this build. This is a lockdown, multi-position defender, essentially. Come up here, upgrade everything out, and here's where it kind of varies. If you want, let me see how I can tweak this to get as many points as possible. Alright, yeah, you want to keep the rebounding up because or at least I will play this as a big man. I just to get as many badges as possible. I'll show you a way to make a defender at power forward and at center. I believe this is how I'll be making mine though. So you can take this down and get 16. Or you can come down here and get 10. I think I value this last finishing badge more because with this, the reason this one has been my favorite has been because you get dimer on this, which is something that typically you just don't get on a big man because you play center a lot of the time. So with this, max that, then I believe 73, because you want to keep a 70 strength. Yep, then go 218, then max your wingspan. And if you look at this is what makes the build. Keep in mind, you are a point guard with this. You'll get an 87 close shot. Driving layup is a 70, which is enough for, or was enough for long athlete. If that's as overpowered this year as last, that's amazing. Almost a 90 driving dunk, 94 standing. And then at guard, you get 90s in block, offensive rebound, defensive rebound. You have an 85 perimeter defense and lateral quickness. That's really good for a guard. With Gym Rat, you'll get higher speed. Like I said, this isn't meant to be the guard position. This is meant to be a big man spot. If I were you, I would go slashing take, just because it's been overpowered every year. Now, what I'm going to do next is I'm going to show you a different variation of that same build. At power forward, again, pure lock. In this one, you'll want to go max for speed. And this is essentially my two-way finisher from last year. You just have to make it a different position. Max all these out. We'll be coming back here and tweaking that. Ball handle, pass accuracy. Move this up until you get 6. Max out driving dunk, close shot, and driving layup, standing dunk, as high up as you can get it. Come back down here. $30, max that. Alright. And this is how you can make my build from last year. Burly, you're going to move it down to 6'7", or 6'8", because you'll have 82 speed, and this is probably the better version of my other build. Let me see what I can get this. Alright, so what I'm doing right now is I'm tweaking it to where you want to keep a 70 strength, because that's what I found is the minimum that you need for like being able to post up and play any position. And this is what I would make instead, because you get more speed and you play the big man position. However, if you value the dimer, like I probably will, this is, I guess, the second best. I'll still be making the guard, but that's purely for dimer. After this, I would choose rim, as glass take is just not very good, simply put. So next, for small forward this year, this is the only small forward build that I've found is extremely viable, and this is actually one of my favorite builds this year because it gives you Hall of Fame finishing and playmaking, and I believe you can get 30 playmaking while still having another Hall of Fame. Yep, you see 30 playmaking badges, and this is still Hall of Fame finishing. So I would go until you can get 20 finishing, upgrade shooting, then come down here. This is a purely offensive build. So I would, if I were you, honestly, just upgrade perimeter defense and lateral quickness. You will not be a very good defender with this build. You can change it around to where you'll get less playmaking and more defense, but if you're making this build, you want to be the offensive powerhouse, the juggernaut. However you want to say it, this is the build that you want to make to play offense with. Given that you won't get any defense, you can come back up here, and you can't get any more finishing, but if you go down to 20, you can get up to 12 shooting, and then you'll have 16 left over. If you want to go to steal, that's probably what I'd put it on. You could go anything for this. I'd probably go built. I wouldn't. I'd probably go default 6-7. Now let's see with this. If you're going to be pure offense, minimum weight, max out your wingspan, and just for the dunk. And this is where it gets interesting. You get post takeover, which you couldn't do last year with this build. But I would still go with slashing, playmaking, offer if they're not going to play you very high on this build. So, however you want to do it, that's up to you. Remember, tweak these builds to your preference. Next, these are going to be your power forward center builds, and regardless of what goes on, you're going to be a post scorer with this build. I'll show you how to make the shooting glass locks, but those are very self-explanatory. You essentially just pick green, red, and then max out defense and shooting. If you want finishing more, go with that. If you value playmaking, go with that. If you're a rebounding wing, I'll go for the playmaking. If you're a rebounding big, I would go finishing. It's up to you then. These will not be those. First, I'm going to give you probably my day one build just to get in, rack up wins off rip. Just very quickly get wins. I would go in pure blue. If I were you, either the balanced or the, where did it go? Or the strength and vertical. But for me, I'm going to go balanced. Very basic build. You're just going to be a post scorer. Don't touch shooting. We'll tweak that here in a second. Come down here. Post moves. Ball handle. Pass accuracy. Max out your rebounds, blocks. Turn this down. Interior defense. Lateral quickness. Come back up here. Take it down. Post hook. Then, what else? What else? Take driving layup and post hook down. Then put them all into defense. It'll be 12, 19, and 30. This is my day one build because it's just going to be very easy to score, especially if you just max out your attributes immediately like I did with the pre-order. You just max out your driving dunk and standing dunk, essentially. Continue. If I were you, I'd go burly for this. Now you can go 7 foot tall. I wouldn't do it. I would stay at 6'9". This is a very good height for this build. You're not small, you're not huge, you can still be mobile. I would max out, go 275 with this, max your wingspan, slashing takeover. That's as simple as it gets. And then post takeover if you wanted it, but for me, I'd go slashing. If you want to go post, go for it. And the next is the post playmaker build, or what would be close to it. Another version, you'll just get more playmaking, bounce pie chart. This will be a smaller build though. Max these out, standing dunk, turn driving layup down until you still get 18. Now go. Pass accuracy, ball handle, all that. Then, for this build especially, you want to get as many defensive badges as possible because you'll be guarding every position. This is also a very good build. You'll have 18, 26, and 12. It's another, I feel like you can guard any position that you would like with this build, but it's not going to be very effective at guarding bigs, especially if they're going to be the back down big builds like I just showed you. I would just go with the build that I'm going to show you next. So with this, alright, you go to until you can get 85 strength with the most speed, because you will be bigger. It ups your interior defense, max your wingspan, and it's another very good big, or a small big. And he looks buff as hell. Slashing take, no question, and that'll give you Hall of Fame, Postman Technician, Quick First Step. Just very, very good badges. I might have to play around with that build more later on, actually. Alright, so for the last build, I'm going to show you this on the power forward and the center, just because it's however you want to play. And that'll be the paint beast. The blue-red, we've all seen it. Love it or hate it, it's there. You can either go balanced, or I would go vertical strength. I like balance better. I don't value strength very much on my bigs. Driving dunk, close shot, standing dunk. This is the very basic build. This is the easiest build that you can make in the game. I'll probably just go 7 on that because you still want some driving layup. Yeah, you can get 8 with this. Post spin, technician, and then whatever else you have is extra. Simplest build in the game. 50 plus badges on a big man. I would go Burley. And then you want this to be 6'10 or 6'9 and above. For this, I would go 6'9. Max weight again. Or not max, but once you get 95, 275 seems like the magic number. Max your wingspan. And simplest build in the game. I'd take rim takeover. Now for the center builds. You're going to see a lot of these offer it because post score is going to be OP. They always are at the beginning of the game. And these are some that I feel like are going to be very interesting at the start of the game, especially given that your wingspan affects your dunk. So I wouldn't go for the post play with this. I would save that for power forward. But for the interior finisher, I feel like this is the best build. Do not go balance, go strength vertical. You're not going to have speed with this build at all, but this is a twos build. This is you get the ball, you drop steps, standing dunks, post hooks, post fades. If you put it into that, I'll show you a separate build that I prefer over this for doing everything post scoring and less defense, but very straightforward for this. Max out everything here, take post hook down, come back down, tier your defense, block, rebounding. If you want to, lateral quickness, I don't think it would matter too much. You're not going to get very many defensive badges on this, but post moves, pass accuracy, ball handle. This can very easily be a 60 badge build. Well, it already is. So let's see if we can get as many. How many badges can we get on this? Let's see here. 19. I think 62. Is that what that is? Yeah, 62 is going to be the max for this. Unless, can we down any of these? No. Yeah, it looks like 62 will be the minimum for this. Go down that. Oh, hold up. We may be able to do something here. Yeah, it doesn't look like it. However, it's very close. Right now, this is a 62 badge big man. That is amazing. For this build, would not go 7-3. I would not recommend ever going 7-3. I'd go probably 6-10, 6-11 for this. I'd go maybe even 6-9. That's up to you. I'd probably go 6-10 just to keep that extra height. Then, of course, enough to get 95 strength. That always goes down to 90. I'm sure you already saw that. But this is my personal, I guess, favorite big, like, if you're going to make the interior finisher, this would be my favorite one. Going here. What you'll notice this year is you can get slashing takeover on big men. Last year you couldn't do that. So that's a improvement from last year. It was kind of weird how you couldn't do it. But this year, of course, as you saw, you can. And the build I'm going to show you now is the pure post score. Not necessarily interior finisher, but you're going to be doing everything from the post. You will have next to no defense on this build, but this is not a threes build. This is a twos build where if you start off with the ball, you do not give the ball up. If you're new to this game and you want to be a post scorer, this is the build I would go with. Max out your post fade first, mid range, and you can go 3-point. I personally wouldn't. I would just max out these so you get 13 shooting, close shot max out, driving layup, driving dunk, everything in here. We'll tweak it a little bit later. Pass accuracy, ball handle, everything to get you as many badges as possible. Let's see. Yep. Interior defense, defensive rebound, offensive rebound. You'll be asking, a big with one defensive badge? How can I play with that? Well, frankly, you probably can't on defense if you go against a big post scorer. But you're not, this isn't a defensive build. If I were you, let's see how I can do this. This is probably what I'd go with, just so you can get 3 defensive badges, enough for gold rim protector, and it'll be 15, 25, 49 badge big. Personally, not my favorite. It's a good post scoring build. I would drop this again, 6'10, 6'11. for this build, I'd say 6'11" just because you're meant to be bigger. Max your weight, max your wingspan. I would go post takeover. And that has been the builds for this game that I personally would like the best. I'm going to show you a few more builds that you can make. I wouldn't recommend them, but they're going to be the more generic. You use them in 2K20. You want to use them this year too, but there's going to be better builds later on once we get the game, figure out how everything works. But to start off, obviously, hate to do it, but the two-way slashing playmaker, toxic, vertical speed, driving dunk, driving layup, close shot, and get 8. Nope, not post fade. Max out all of these. Go until you get 8. Ball handle, pass accuracy, you'll get 20. Perimeter, steal. And you can go defensive rebound, block. Then I'd come up here. Let's see. Is it one for both? Yeah. So you can go here, get another one of those. Can you get another shoe? No, you can't. So yeah, I'd either come back up here, get another one. Either get another finishing, another playmaking. Let's see if we can get another defense somewhere in here. Yeah, so I just come up here, put it on standing. Unfortunately, it is another 57 badge build. I hope I don't see this everywhere. I feel like I am going to eventually though. You know what to do, minimum weight, 6'5". You can max out your wingspan. You'll still have a 60 3-pointer. Last year that was enough. This year I don't know. Slashing or lock. Then the next build is the offensive threat. Where is the balance pipe? Balance blue-green? Is there no more balance blue-green? Oh, duh. It's right there. So for this, max speed, driving dunk, driving layup. You can go standing dunk. Get 22 finishing. Actually, I think you just get 15. To get 15. 22. Ball handle, pass accuracy. I'm going to get 15. Perimeter, lateral. Hmm. Trying to see how we can make this build this year. Yeah, essentially, that's the build. I would say, well, what you would normally do, stay 6'3". This year, I would go up to 6'5". If you want to be like Tysuno, go down to 6'1". I don't even think he's doing that this year, though. Minimum weight, minimum wingspan. Well, not minimum, but uh, yeah, minimum. I'm not gonna put too much thought into this. I'd go sharp or slash. Then next, a shooting guard build. This one, I feel like it can pass this year. It's gonna be the very big slashing playmaker. I kind of touched on this earlier, but this will be a different version of that. It'll be a little taller. So for this, you want to keep defense. This is a no question defense build. Let's see where you can put this last badge into. Yeah, that's probably what I'd go with. 50, a little over 50 badges. It's pretty good. You can go 6-7 with this the most. I feel like 88 speed is the very minimum. Like I said earlier, 90 speed is what you need to be competitive with other guards. But 88 is kind of that's the lowest that I would go for a guard. This year, you can minimize your weight, so you can even go maybe even 6'8". The 86 speed can get you up to a 90. If you're gonna grind this on current gym, go for it. But like I said, I wouldn't. Max your wingspan, slashing take. Small forward. I feel like shooting bigs are gonna be good this year, just because the aim system is gonna be exceptionally easy for bigs, like the shooting glass locks and the rebounding wings, because you'll be able to just hold in one direction. It'll always be the same direction regardless. So for this balanced pie chart, this will be the rebounding wing, mid-range 3-point free throw, post fade. Then where can you go for this? Down your post fade to 7-6. Defense, just max it out. Now, this is where I feel like they differ. For me, on a rebounding wing, I would go playmaking, but, and then I would go back up to 19, and then close shot. On a big, well, I'll just show you here in a second. So, build, you're gonna go, I'd probably go 6'8", max your weight out. Well, for this, I'd probably go until you have 70 speed still. That's typically a good weight for bigs, because you're not slow, but you're still a big. Now I would go lock takeover for this. There's a way that you can get your wingspan. You can, I believe it's 2 below default, or let's see how far you can go with this. So if you want the sharp take, leave your wingspan default. But for more competitive, max is going to be better. But for more casual players, default wingspan, even T-Rex arms, it's not incredibly good. As you can see, your defensive attributes take a big drop, but your Hall of Fame defensive badges will make up for that for the most part. You'll still be a liability when it comes down to big takeovers doing post hooks, but there should be, and always is, a good build. Now I'm going to do the other version of this on the center. You can make this a power forward as well. I just prefer the center. Blue-green, of course. For me, what I did last year, I had a 6'11 big max weight and it still had 78 speed. You cannot do that anymore. For whatever reason, the game just doesn't allow you to make builds like that. Big builds with high speed aren't existent anymore. Unfortunately, well, not unfortunately, it's a good thing, but it's, I guess it's bad for me because that's what I was used to, but this is how the game should be overall. Strength vertical, come down, 3-point shot, mid range, free throw, post fade, max everything out. You'll notice it's the same, but last year you got more defense on this build than the rebounding wing. So if I'm y'all, this is what I'm doing. Close shot, driving dunk, and post hook. However y'all want to do that, it's up to you. This year, I'd probably go with the rebounding wing instead. It just seems like the better build because your three-pointer is just atrocious on this year. I don't think this is going to be a very viable build. You're going to see rebounding wings, but I'm sure eventually someone will come along and break it. Now, another thing that was from last year that I don't believe will be good this year is the play glass, which I think once you hit the equivalent of legend this year, that'll be good. But I wouldn't count on it until then, because last year it was okay before legend, but you could still use it very easily if you're good at the game. But look, a 79 or a 59 three-pointer, it's not going to be very good. And with everything put into it, you'll get 9 shooting badges. So, to me, it's not even worth it to go through and make this build unless you are a legend. But close shot, driving dunk, standing dunk, you'll get 9. Burley, drop down to 6'7". Then minimum weight, max wingspan. It's going to be a good defensive build. Of course, it's made for the playmaking takeover. This is made for comp players because they don't see very many pure posts going in there. In case you're wondering what my build will be this year, I'm still kind of on the fence about what I want to do, but what it's looking like is pure red and then balanced, driving, close shot, do not touch shooting, ball handle. Come down here, just max everything else out. Go back up, standing dunk, post hook. This is a 55 badge build. I've made this build how I want to play. So Burley. So I'm either going with this build at 6'8", purely for dimer, maxing out the weight, maxing out wingspan, because I plan on grinding out my builds, so I'll have an 80 speed, already at 77, it's better than most bigs, but to keep up with guards, it's gonna be a struggle. So, my build, two-way finisher, same as last year. And like last year, my two-way finisher, he was an inch short of this, but had 92 speed, 80 some strength, and it was just a very good build. I wish I had found it sooner. But I'll be running the same as last year, Fancy, Slithery, Relentless, Lob City. For this, however, the only reason that I picked this build over my other one is because of Dimer. Dimer, Quick First Step, Unpluckable. These are the badges I would run, because when I get someone dexed like I do a lot of the time, that gold Dimer on a big man is amazing. Obviously Clamps, Brick Wall, Intercept, not Intimidator, and Pogo Stick is what I'm waiting until I can actually play against other people with it, because they said it was nerfed. They also said hop steps were nerfed, but playing the prelude, you can still hop step everywhere. But I went post move lockdown last year. Silver, silver, silver. All the defensive badges you could want. And then slippery off balls what I ran. I fuck around, use difficult shots this year. I don't know. But this is the first variation of the build that I would make. Like I said, for Dimer and the third defensive badges, love that. The 90s and the standing and driving dunk and close shot, love that. Because it's just so overpowered to have 90s in your block, that is very loud, in your block, driving dunk, and still be able to get dimers. The quote unquote big man spot. But if you run with a better shooter, this will probably be the build I'll end up switching to later on, because as the game goes on, people will shoot better. We don't know if you'll need dime or anything like that, especially on a guard. It is pure defense. And keep in mind, but you will be a guard playing the big man spot. So that is an advantage, because you'll get the playmaking badges, and you can tweak it however you want to get more or less. But that's what I would have gone with. So max these out. And done. Believe I can keep that maxed out. I'll change it if not. Yep. Alright, this is the other version. Again, 55 badges. It's just, you'll have more finishing, and I don't think the other one's 55, because that had 9. This has, I think, 1 or 2 less badges. Still very similar. Go Burly. For me, I would go 6. 6, 8. Yeah, I'd probably keep this build at 6'8" too. 6'8" seems like the good height this year for locks. Then weight up. I think I'd probably go up until a 70. As high as I can keep an 80 speed. Or I do want minimum 73 strength. Because, or 70 strength but with vert, or with wingspan. It goes down to 70, so minimal difference in speed. You will be a little faster on this one. And you'll be a little faster. You'll be playing the big man spot. Trying to think of what else you'll be with this build. So, here, I'll just take a picture of it real quick, so I can show it, give all a very side-by-side comparison of this, so I can read them off to you. Just if you're thinking about making a lock in This one, another thing, you do get slashing takeover on the other build, which I value very much. So, Rim Protector, it's okay. Let me get a picture of the badges on this too. Alright, so let me go back to my other build. I think it's stupid they can't edit builds in this. Try and get this as quick as possible. Keep in mind, on this, you could go speed. I wouldn't know. I'll do a little more testing with it later on. I'll have a video out on this, on what I find to be the best build. But I will definitely keep y'all updated on anything that we find out about this. I just want to look at something. So that's, if I can get 70 strength on a pure speed, that is, let me check this out real quick. Yeah, I don't think so. Yeah, nowhere close. And just put 2 over that. Burly, 6'8". Alright, so the difference between the two builds is, let me see here, as far as badges, yep, so this build is, let's see here, 56 badges. This one is 54, 55. Yeah, very minimal difference. Then with this build, you'll have 2 less speed, 1 less acceleration. You will have, what is it, 7 more vertical, and your finishing badges and attributes are very similar. You have a higher driving layup on this build though. Then playmaking, you'll have more. Your attributes stay the same though. Post moves are less. Your interior defense is much better on the power forward build. However, that doesn't really mean much, given that you have 30 defensive badges. It'll be good regardless. Your perimeter defense and lateral quickness are higher. You have a much higher steal on this build, 12 higher, which is very important. And block and rebound's the exact same. So honestly, probably go with this build instead. Along with slashing takeover. I'm actually gonna have to play around with this build a lot more because a big guard like this is very, very, I guess, usable. if you want to say it like that. I wonder. So, I'm going to be maxing mine out off rip. 85, I'll have 73 speed. That'll be okay. I just don't like that you can't make fast lock builds anymore. I'm sure you can. Well, I guess you can't make fast multi-position defenders anymore. Like my last build. That was just a godlike build. Then, contact, fancy, slithery, relentless. You could go, I'll probably end up going Lob City. But, this is up to you. This is just my personal preference. Shooting doesn't matter. Dimer is a must. I'm gonna go quick first step. Excuse me. And unpluckable. Defense. Hall of Fame, Hall of Fame, Hall of Fame, Hall of Fame, Hall of Fame. Silver, silver, silver. If you want to pause it, screenshot, whatever, go for it. And this is what I would use. If Pogo Stick and Intimidator turn out to be terrible, depending on how bad they are, if you just don't want to use them, which I can very well see them running them into the ground, I would still, I imagine Intimidator will be around, but very limited. I think Pogo Stick is going to be not much worse. I think they reduced it a little bit, but honestly, I think Intimidator and Pogo Stick were fine by themselves. Well, maybe not Intimidator. Intimidator was definitely broken, but I think Pogo Stick was fine in itself, but Intimidator kind of pushed it over the edge. Because Intimidator, it gives a boost to shot defense ratings too. It's not just the, like, Intimidator, it'll turn a 10% contest to a 30, if that makes any sense. But I think I'll still be using Pogo Stick. And if anything, Rim Protector, Hall of Fame, and Intimidator on silver, because I think it'll be more skilled. I think post defense will be easier this year, so you may not need post move lockdown. But whatever you want to do, go for it. This will be the build that I choose to use. I'm going to go through again on my own, see what 6'7" looks like, but I feel like 6'8" would be a good height. And then I'm going to show you another build that you could potentially use as well for your paint beast kind of build. I don't think it's going to be a paint beast, it'll be more of the, if y'all watch LA Laker fan, his finisher build. I don't think that'll be a viable build this year. I hate that. We can't just go back. I don't think that'll be a viable build this year because the last time I checked it out, it didn't really have very many shooting badges, or I mean, finishing. So let's see. For this, I'd go, yeah, screw it, point guard still. Not too worried about it, just want to check it out real quick. See this, balanced. It'll be an okay build. Can I finish another? No, I can't. Let's see here. Nice. pretty good. Yikes. I don't know why I said that. It's not terrible. Yeah. Defense isn't where I would want it to be for being so slow. Um, you do have very good finishing. Let me check. What was ours at? The other build. Yeah, it's not that much better than our other builds to sacrifice for almost 10 rebounds and blocks for I think 3 or 4 on standing dunk and driving dunk combined. Yeah, I would just make our other build. This isn't worth it. Let's see how many badges this one has. Um, so 50, 60. Let me check here. I think the badges is what will make this build. Let's see. Yeah, 60 badges. This would have been a good build last year, given that if hop steps are good this year, this might be a good build. Maybe 6-7 for this be better. No, none of that block is. Yeah, it's 7 more block. Yeah, I wouldn't make this build. I just use our two-way finisher 6-8 point guard build. That's what I'll end up using, I think. I think people have to guard me up high on that too. And if I do end up running with a center, honestly, I could run with a rebounding wing. I wonder how that would work out with the heights. Because if I'm taller than him, but he plays the 3 instead of the 1, I wonder how that would work out. Well, I think aside from that, that's about it. I'll leave the timestamps for everything, or for the builds that I liked, in the description. I'll have another build out on what I find to be the best build for me. I like using locks. I'll have a build out on that for 2K21 best lock build. Probably within the next few days. But aside from that, thank y'all for watching. Hope you enjoyed if you're watching this in the future. Hope we find some of this enjoyable. Thank y'all for coming through.